In this one, we're going to learn how to do a parabola transformation that will look like this. This is going to be x squared. Then it's going to be x plus 1 squared. Then it's going to be over here negative x plus 1 squared. And lastly, it's going to be negative x plus 1 squared, say, plus 1. So let's go through these transformations. Begin with the basic parent graph, like x squared. That has these points on it. Negative 1, 1, 0, 0, 1, 1. And then roughly speaking, it looks like this. When you do x plus 1 equals square rather, this is really to be interpreted as follows. The right way to see it is x minus a negative 1. It's a basic rule. Remember, whenever you have two negatives, that makes a positive. That's all. So you can also rewrite the positive as minus a negative, because then that value tells you that each x coordinate should be shifted by 1 to the left. So you want to see that negative 1 that I'm pointing to right there. Therefore, these basic points on x squared look like this. Take a look. I'm going to say here negative 1, 1, 0, 0, and then also there is, as you have seen just now, 1, 1. So we transform them as follows. You're going to do negative 1 minus 1. Remember, I'm subtracting that negative 1. I'm putting a 0, and I simplify that. It's going to give me here a negative 2, 0. And that becomes my new first point. Over here, I'm going to go over to 2 to the left, and I'm sorry, that was a 1 in that position. That's my fault. That's a 1. So I go over 2 to the left and 1 up, just like that. I do the next point. Remember, the next point on the original is 0, 0. So now I'm going to do 0 minus 1. I'm affecting only the x-coordinate. The y-coordinate is not changed. And I put 0 for that. For that reason, it's going to give me now negative 1, 0. And I mark that, negative 1, 0. Next one was 1, comma 1 up there on the original. So now this is going to become 1 minus 1. You copy the y-coordinate, which is 1. You simplify. 1 minus 1 is 0. You copy the 1. So you end up there with an x-coordinate of 0 and a y-coordinate of 1. That's it. There's no guessing of any kind or feeling your way through it if you think about it, right? This is all 100% predictable. Go over to the next one. So now I have a negative on the outside. So take a look. I'm going to do negative. It's as if you had negative 1 multiplying everything. The action of the negative 1 is to make each of the y-coordinates be multiplied by negative 1. It makes them negative. Look back here at stage number 2. I'm going to number these. This is stage number 1 right here. So this is stage number 2, therefore. So at stage number 2, you had these points. Negative 2, 0, negative 1, 0, and 0, 1. You're going to take each y-coordinate and you're going to multiply it by negative 1. And you copy the x-coordinate exactly. So the first point, it will be negative 2. And now, look back over here at this point, right? This right here is a positive 1. You multiply that by negative 1. Just the 1. So it gives you negative 1 for that reason, you see? And you mark that point. So 2 to the left and 2 straight down. I'm sorry, 1 down. Next one was negative 1, 0. This point right here at stage number 2. So you multiply the 0 by negative 1. That doesn't change. So you end up with this point at the next stage here. Stage 3. That's going to give you negative 1 and then 0 still. You mark that. Back at stage number 2, you had the point 0, comma 1. So now you take that 1 and you multiply it by negative 1. That's going to give you the following new point, 0, comma, negative 1. That's it. Back over here at stage 2, 1 multiplied by negative 1 generates negative 1. Up to stage 3. So then you mark that right there, you see? And now it opens straight down this way. Lastly, you take the points from this third stage, and at stage number 4, you got to do one last transformation, the plus 1. The plus 1 says move everything up by 1 unit. That acts only on the y-coordinates from the last stage. Take a look. Last stage had this, negative 2, comma, negative 1. But now I'm going to add to it 1. I'm changing only the y-coordinate. It's important to understand that. So you end up with negative 2, 0. And you mark that. 2 to the left and then 0. That's it. Next stage, we had the point negative 1, 0 originally. So now it's going to be negative 1, 0, plus 1. Simplify that. It's going to give you negative 1, positive 1. So you mark that up here, you see? Last one, at stage number 3 back there, we had the point 0, comma, negative 1. So now we have this point right here. Take a look. 0, comma, negative 1 plus 1. You simplify that, and it's going to give you here 0, comma, 0 apparently. So you mark that. And that becomes the flipped version of the curve. There you go. So I've shown you a huge amount of detail to go from stage to stage to stage. This is stage number 1, stage number 2, stage number 3, and stage number 4 to review. Remember that when you go from 1 to 2 over here, I rewrote the plus as minus a negative, and the minus 1 is necessary to see because it tells you shift the entire graph by 1 to the left. that affects only the x-coordinates. At stage number 3, when I did the -1 on the outside, that multiplied only the y-coordinates by -1. It flipped the graph. At the last stage where I did the +1, that again increased only each y-coordinate by 1. It's important to understand that. Leave a like. Thanks so much for watching. I'll check you out in another video.